Good day, everyone. We are the Group 5 and we will be discussing Lesson 9 Birth Control and Sexually Transmitted Diseases covering pregnancy, growth, development, and genetics.
Here are our objectives. Describe various birth control methods, emphasizing their relative effectiveness. List general symptoms of sexually transmitted diseases. Explain the process of fertilization leading to pregnancy. Detail the major events of cleavage during early development. Differentiate between embryo and fetus stages. Describe hormonal changes in the body during pregnancy. Outline major events during the embryonic stage of development. Detail major events during the fetal stage of development. Evaluate the correlation between Punnett square predictions and offspring traits. Birth control. Let's start with a simple question. What is birth control? Birth control refers to the different ways people can prevent pregnancy. It helps individuals or couples decide when to have children and how many they want. There are several types of birth control methods, and each one works differently. So, to better understand them, let's begin with the most basic type, the natural methods. Natural methods. Now, let's talk about natural methods. These methods don't use any devices or medicine. For example, the calendar method. It involves tracking the menstrual cycle and avoiding intercourse during fertile days. Another is withdrawal method, where the male partner pulls out before ejaculation. We also have breastfeeding or LAM, which can temporarily prevent pregnancy during the first 6 months after childbirth if done exclusively. However, these methods are less reliable because they depend heavily on timing and consistency. Because of this, many people choose methods that offer more protection, like barrier methods. So, as we've seen, there are many birth control options available, each with its own advantages and limitations. The best method really depends on a person's needs, lifestyle, and personal choice. Next, we have hormonal methods. These methods work by changing hormone levels in the body to stop ovulation. Common examples include birth control pills, injections, and implants. They are considered highly effective, especially when used properly, although they may require guidance from a healthcare provider. For those who prefer long-lasting or even permanent solutions, there is another category to consider. Finally, we have long-term and permanent methods. The IUD is a small device placed inside the uterus and can prevent pregnancy for several years. There's also vasectomy for men, which blocks the sperm, and tubal ligation for women, which blocks or removes the fallopian tube. These methods are very effective, but since some are permanent, they require careful thought and decision making. So, as we've seen, there are many birth control options available, each with its own advantages and limitations. The best method really depends on a person's needs, lifestyle, and personal choice.
STDs, or sexually transmitted diseases, are infections that spreads through sexual contacts, including vaginal, anal, or oral sex. These infections can be caused by various pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, or parasites, often leading to serious health issues if left untreated. Common symptoms of STDs include painful urination, unusual discharge, sore or bumps, itching, and fever. Though it's crucial to note that some individuals may not exhibit any noticeable symptoms, making regular checkups and safe practices vital for early detection and prevention. Prevention of STDs. It involves key strategies like using condoms consistently, limiting sexual partners, getting regular testing, and considering abstinence, as these practices significantly reduce the risk of transmission and are often more effective than treatment, emphasizing that prevention is indeed the best protection against STDs. Pregnancy and fertilization. Fertilization is the union of a human sperm and egg, usually occurring in the fallopian tube within hours or days of sexual intercourse, marking the beginning of pregnancy where the fertilized egg or zygote start dividing and travels to implant in the uterus. From zygote to implantation, the zygote rapidly divides into multiple cells, travels through the fallopian tube to the uterus, and attaches to the uterine wall in a process called implantation, marking the critical initial phase where pregnancy officially begins, and the embryo starts receiving their nourishments. Early development. The cleavage stage is the initial phase of embryonic development immediately following fertilization, characterized by rapid mitotic divisions without significant overall growth, transforming the zygote into a multicellular structure called blastocyst, preparing it for implantation in the uterus.
Difference between an embryo and a fetus. Two terms we often hear but may not fully distinguish. These refer to different stages in the development of a baby before birth, each with its own unique characteristics and timeline. The embryonic stage, from week 5 until the end of week 10 of pregnancy. The main focus here is the organ formation. During this period, the basic structures of the body are formed. The major organs like the heart, brain, lungs, and digestive system begin to develop. The embryo looks very different from a fully formed baby. It is small and its features are just starting to take shape. This is a critical time because all the foundational systems are being built. The fetal stage, from the end of week 10 until birth. The main focus here is the growth and development. Once all the major organs are formed, the developing baby is now called a fetus. In this stage, the focus shifts from forming new structures to growing larger, maturing, and refining functions. The body proportions become more like a newborn, and organs continue to develop and prepare for life outside the womb. The key difference between embryo and the fetus. The embryo building the body's parts and organs, while the fetus growing, maturing, and getting ready for birth. Understanding these stages help us appreciate how complex and amazing human development is, from a tiny cluster of cells to a fully formed baby. Next, let's talk about the changes that happen during and after pregnancy, specifically hormonal changes. Hormonal changes happen when there are shifts in the levels of hormones in our body. These changes are natural and can occur due to different life stages such as puberty, pregnancy, and menopause. They can also be triggered by other factors like stress and health conditions such as PCOS. Hormonal changes after pregnancy. After giving birth, the body goes through another major transition as hormones level adjust back to normal. Sometimes, this adjustment can lead to an imbalance which may cause several noticeable signs and symptoms. Here are the common signs of hormone imbalance after pregnancy. First is the extreme mood swings. Feeling very happy, sad, or irritable suddenly and intensely. Next, extreme tiredness. Feeling exhausted even after getting enough rest. Weight change. Unexpected weight gain or difficulty losing weight. Hair loss. Noticeable thinning or shedding of hair. Next is low sex drive. Decreased interest in sexual activity. And last, irregular periods. Menstrual cycles that are not regular or predictable. Understanding these changes help us realize that what a woman experiences after pregnancy is normal and often temporary. However, if these symptoms persist or become severe, it is important to consult a doctor for proper advice and care. Now, let's look closer at the embryonic stage. This is a very critical period. It starts from the 3rd week after fertilization and lasts until the end of the 8th week. Why is it critical? During this short time, the foundation of the human body is being built. All the major structures and organs begin to form, making this a very sensitive period for development. As shown here in the slide, here are the main things that happen during this stage. First is organs begin forming. The basic structures of organs like the heart, brain, lungs, and digestive system start to take shape. Even external features like fingers and toes begin to appear, as we can see in the image. Second, heart starts beating. This is one of the most amazing milestones. By around week 5 or 6, the heart begins to beat and pump blood. Last is the nervous system develops. The brain and spinal cord start to form, and the basic pathways for communication in the body are established. In simple terms, the embryonic stage is when the tiny cluster of cells transforms into a recognizable human form with working systems. Because so much is happening so quickly, this is why proper care and nutrition are especially important during these early weeks. After the embryonic stage comes the fetal stage. This begins around the 9th to 10th week and lasts until birth. It starts around the 9th to 10th week of pregnancy, right after the embryonic stage ends, and continues until birth. The main focus here is, unlike the embryonic stage where organs are formed, here the focus is on growth, maturation, and refinement of body systems. As shown here in the diagram, here are the important developments that happen during this stage. In the 9 weeks, the fetal stage officially begins. In the 12 weeks, sex organs starts to differentiate. In the 16 weeks, fingers and toes are fully formed. For 20 weeks, the baby begins to hear sounds. For 24 weeks, lungs start to develop and prepare for breathing. 28 weeks, the brain grows very rapidly. For the 32 weeks, bones are fully developed but still soft. 36 weeks, muscles are fully developed and ready for movement. And last, for the 40 weeks, the baby is fully developed and ready to be born. In this fetal stage, the baby grows bigger, stronger, and all organs mature so they can function outside the womb. It is an amazing period of rapid growth and preparation for life.
Moving on to genetics, we use a tool called the Punnett square to understand how traits are passed from parents to children. A Punnett square is a simple tool used in genetics to predict the possible traits of offspring based on the genes of the parents. It helps us in 3 main ways. First, shows possible gene combinations. It lists all the different ways genes can mix and match. Second, identifies dominant and recessive traits. It shows which trait is more likely to appear. And the third one explains inheritance. It helps us understand how characteristics are passed from one generation to the next. Looking at the diagram, big T represents the gene for tall or dominant trait. The small t represents the gene for dwarf or recessive trait. The parent on top has one tall gene and one dwarf gene. The parent on the side has 2 dwarf genes. When we combine them in the square, we got results like 1 tall gene and 1 dwarf gene, and has 2 dwarf genes. It means the offspring will be tall because the big T gene is dominant and covers up the small t. Recessive parent means the offspring will be dwarf because there is no dominant gene present. In short, the Punnett square is like a map that shows us what physical traits a baby might inherit. It helps us see why we look like our parents and how different features are passed down through families.
Finally, why is genetics important? First, family traits. Genetics explain why we look like our parents and relatives.
It is the reason why we inherit certain features such as eye color, shape of the face, and other family characteristics that are passed down from generation to generation. Second is the health risk. Understanding genetics help us know what diseases or health conditions we might be more likely to get. This is very important because if we know the risk early, we can take steps to prevent them or manage them properly with the help of doctors. Last is the physical characteristics. Genetics also explain the differences we see in people. It determines things like height, skin color, type of hair, and other physical features that make each person unique. In short, genetics help us understand where we come from, what makes us unique, and how to take better care of our health. It plays a big role in every part of our lives. To conclude, human development is a complex and amazing journey. We have learned that life begins with the embryonic stage, where organs are formed, and continues to the fetal stage, where the baby grows and matures. We also discussed that pregnancy brings significant changes to a woman's body, especially hormonal shifts that affect physical and emotional health. Furthermore, genetics plays a vital role in explaining who we are. Through tools like the Punnett square, we understand how traits are passed down from parents, influencing our appearance and even our health risk. Ultimately, understanding these topics help us appreciate the value of life, the importance of healthcare, and what makes every person unique. That ends my report. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening and participating as we discuss how genetics, growth, and reproductive health all connect. We hope this lesson helped you understand your body better and gave you the knowledge to make safe, responsible choices for your future. Stay informed, stay safe, and have a great day.